thank Rockwell High School for allowing us to come in tonight, and we really appreciate that. This type of an event is very important, I think, for communities to have an opportunity to come and get to know the candidates. And so thank you for coming, and thank you to them for having us here tonight. My name is Charlotte Ducos. I am the Legislative VP at Hidden Hollow for the PTA, and I'm working with Wendy Logic, who is the FSO president, or with the FSO here at Rockwell, and just glad to have you all here. For our format this evening, we're going to have a 2-minute introduction by each candidate, and then there will be a series of 4 questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question, and then we'll come back around with a 1-minute rebuttal for each question as well. And we'll just proceed in that way. Once we have completed all of the questions, they will have 2 minutes to do any closing statements, and then we'll have a 5-minute intermission as we change over for our mayor debate, and then we'll do it all over again. So thank you so much for being here. We'll get started. I also need to introduce Danielle Palmer, who will be reading our questions tonight. She's here with us from the Crossroads Journal. So I'm going to turn this mic over to her.
All right, I'm so happy to be here again. I did one of the debates last time. I really enjoyed myself, so I'm happy to help out again this time. So for the first question, I would like to, we're doing introductions first. Introductions will begin with Brian Free, since he's closest this way. And then we'll just go ahead and go down in order in the table. So go ahead and get started.
Hi, my name is Brian Free, and I'm running for City Council. Just a little bit about my background. I moved to Eagle Mountain back in 2006, lived here a little over 7 years, have a beautiful wife and 4 children, ranging from 5 up to 12. And as soon as I got here to Eagle Mountain, I decided that it was important to be involved in our community and to make a difference here. So I immediately looked for opportunities, and I saw the city celebration and Pony Express Days and got involved there, and serving in some capacity since that time in the Pony Express Days to help keep those costs down and make a difference here in Eagle Mountain. And then in 2007, I ran for City Council because I was looking for more ways to get involved in our community, and ended up not winning that election, but was appointed to the Parks and the Recreation Board, which was created in 2008 by our current mayor, and have been serving there for 5.5 years, and love being involved there and love serving Eagle Mountain, and will continue to serve as long as I'm here. And as my background, as far as a lot of you asked about my career and what I do for a living, I am a commercial real estate appraiser, and through that experience I'm able to, I know most of the developers here in Eagle Mountain, all the major developers, and have a working relationship with them. I also know the current council members and most of the city staff, which is really good for somebody coming in and getting involved and wanting to be the next city council member who can just hit the ground running, understand just the history of our city, where we've been, where we're at, and where we need to go. And I have a game plan in place to do the things that we need to do to improve our city, whether it's transportation, economic development, new roads, whatever we need. And I encourage you to go to my website, check that out, and encourage you to vote for Brian Free. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Tom Westmoreland, and I want to thank everyone for coming out and thank everyone for putting this on. My background is primarily advertising, but I've been involved in politics for some time, primarily state issues. My wife and I moved to Eagle Mountain about 5 years ago. We have 9 children together. And during the campaign, I've often had the opportunity to speak about the principles of liberty. Founding fathers are founding documents, and so people have occasionally asked me, well, now what does that have to do with city politics? And this is what I think it has to do with it. Is we're, for much of the world, freedom and productivity are separate issues. But for us, it's a reality, because we've lived it here in this country. And when we remember the principles that gave us those liberties, that made us the wealthiest nation on earth, then it reminds us of who we are. And
30 seconds.
Already, okay. It helps to break down the barriers between us, because I think our differences often come up when we forget about those principles and drift from them. And so though those principles may not, we don't have freedom of speech issues necessarily, but certainly looking out for one another's rights is a real issue. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. Oh, there it is. Great. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'm happy to be here. It's exciting to see your faces here, and it's fun to be involved, and I hope you guys can feel that as well. And representative government is what America's all about, right? It's about getting to know your representatives, communicating with them, and having them vote the way that with your input. And so I kind of started off right at the meat of my talk here, but that's really on my mind a lot these days as I go out and talk to folks and really get involved, is that your voice needs to be heard, it needs to be listened to, and it needs to be reacted to. And that's my goal as your city councilman. As a representative of you, I will continue to listen to you, and I will take your considerations prior to me voting. And that, I think, is what really makes a connection between you and your city. Is that you feel that your city is listening to you and that your opinion matters and your opinion is being heard. And that's my goal. And so on my website, adambradleyemcity.org, is where sort of the hub of that communication can take place. We can have dialogues, we can have conversation. My phone number's there. We can talk about the issues that matter to you. Because the issues that matter to you might not be on my radar, but it's important that you and I have this conversation.
30 seconds.
Just a little bit more about me. I have a wife and 3 kids. We've been here 5 years. I grew up in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., where politics is all around. And nothing is more important politics-wise than what happens here in Eagle Mountain, here in your town. It affects everything that we do, way more than anything federally or state-wise. And so I applaud you for being involved, and share that with your neighbors. Tell them it's not that boring. We'll do our best, but thanks for coming out tonight.
I'd like to welcome everybody out tonight. Thank you for coming. Thank you to Charlotte and Danielle for all their hard work, and to Rockwell and all the others that are working so hard for the election process. My name is Nathan Oxenhurt. I've been living in Eagle Mountain for 10 years now. Married, 4 children from 12 to 21, and we love Eagle Mountain. And a little bit about me professionally: I've been a drywall contractor for a little over 20 years, and a general contractor for about 15 years now. And we love working with people and seeing change. That's one of the things that drove me into politics, is that understanding of seeing something, seeing a need, or seeing something that needs to be fixed and to be better, and making it so. I was encouraged to run 6 years ago because a lot of things were lacking, and there was a lot of excitement in the city, and I was lucky enough to be chosen to work with the citizens. And in the last 6 years, I'm proud to say that we've had a lot of parks and trails and schools and roads and infrastructure and things like that have been brought forward that have really positively impacted the lives of the city.
30 seconds.
I think that there's a room for improvement, always is. Thanks for that. And that's why I want to continue going on, is that I see that there's still need. We've got issues in White Hills that I'd like to see come to the forefront. There's all the different things that you have on your mind. I want to represent what you guys believe is the most important. Everything starts within the city.
I promise.
Okay, so now we have 2 minutes per person to answer the question, and then you'll get 1 more minute after that for a rebuttal on each question. Okay. So question number 1 is, what do you plan to do to improve customer service between the city and the residents? This includes City Hall, Public Works, utilities, and anything else where residents deal with the city. We'll begin with Tom Westmoreland.
Thank you. This microphone's scaring me now. Customer service is kind of a personal issue with me. Coming from a business perspective, I really notice when I get good customer service and when I don't. I've always taken great pride in really taking care of people that do business with me, and I expect that with everyone else. So I'm not originally from Utah, and so I was a little let down when I moved here and found that just in general, it seemed Utah could be much better when it comes to public service. I actually lived in Las Vegas for a long time, and I realized that many people in Utah have differences with cities like Las Vegas that are understandable. But one thing I learned from Las Vegas is they definitely know how to do customer service there, and we can learn a lot from that. So one of the things I can't help but be impressed when I go to someplace just so simple as like In-N-Out Burger, when the person is probably making minimum wage, and that person gives me 100% of customer service. Now, I guess I'm not quite getting to the answer of how to go about this, but I think it's a cultural issue. I mean, it's something that has to be practiced all the time and rehearsed all the time and reminded all the time. It's just, you either believe in customer service or you don't. And I believe in customer service. And I think that's really my answer to it, is all of us, anyone in the city needs to believe in customer service.
I like what Tom said about a culture. The culture of customer service is really what a city should be. And that starts with leadership, and then training, and then accountability. If those who have a public eye with the city are not educated, trained, and then held accountable to that customer service culture or that customer service mentality, then it falls by the wayside, and it doesn't show. And we as residents of Eagle Mountain, we're customers to Eagle Mountain on 2 fronts. One is residents, is voting residents and those that live and pay taxes here. But 2 is in the utility department. We pay our utilities to the city. And so it's a double duty for the city to be good customer service minded on both those fronts. And so I think the solution is creating that culture, that we are here to serve the city, to serve the residents, to put your needs first and put your concerns, your frustrations, and your praises first. And I think that as a city councilman, it might not be my job to go to these departments that have a public face and train or hold them accountable. But I think as your elected representative, I can help and I will help on creating a culture of customer service. And there's a reason I go to places like In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A, because they treat me better. And my wife says I have too high of expectations when it comes to customer service. But that means I have high expectations with myself too. So I will do my best to nurture that culture. Thanks.
Well, being a business owner, it's all about customer service. It doesn't matter what the customer mindset is. It is your duty to try your best to please them and satisfy them in your service of what you're doing. Whether you're collecting utility bills or if you're sending out monthly information to the residents, the level of communication has to be always above board. We need to have a lot said about the culture. I like that word in this respect because there needs to be just a whole mindset of pleasing the people. That's what you're there to do. You are there to assist the people that come up. And it starts with leadership, and then it continues with the training. And I like what Adam said about the accountability. That's the hard part of leadership, is holding those that work with and for you accountable for the level of expectation that is placed upon them. And as a city who also runs a utility, the level of expectation with kind, respectful, and honorable customer service is at a very, very high level. And we need to continually train and retrain our people that are in those situations and make sure that they have the leadership to make sure that the services are rendered in a way that is appropriate for the people.
30 seconds.
I believe that by and large the city tries very hard for that. There's always, like I said before, there's always room for improvement. If you're not learning, if you're not evolving, if you're not improving, then you're not serving the customer. Transparency is at the height of it. You've got to be able to speak it and do it. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is a really great question, and I'm glad it's being asked. We talk about having good customer service, but it goes beyond just wanting to have good customer service and having good customer service, as we say, as an elected official. That's all fine and good, but when I call the city, a lot of time when I call the city, nobody answers the phone. This is a complaint I hear from a lot of residents. Or, I had this issue with my utility bill, and all of a sudden they were calling me saying, you owe all this money, and you need to pay it. It's like, I can't pay that. Well, then we can make payments, and they were just frustrated with the process. And it wasn't that they weren't willing to pay, they actually were very willing to pay, but they were concerned with the way that the problem was handled. And in the other cities, we can learn from other municipalities and how they do things and how they find success with the program that they've implemented. Lehigh is a great example. They have mandatory customer service training every single year. And every single employee, I don't care if you're part-time, a couple hours, or full-time, every single employee is required to go to that to keep their job. And they learn how to be great customer service. They have signs in their different, where the public will see them saying, customer service is #1 or something like that. I mean, their focus is on doing whatever it takes to solve your problems, to satisfy your needs, and to do what is right for you, so that you don't get a bill that says, oh, a call all of a sudden saying you owe all this money, when you're like, I have no clue what you're talking about. Or you call the city and get help right away, and that your problem. The city wants to do this, but you got to have
30
infrastructure
seconds.
in place to get the job done, so that this customer service happens. It doesn't just happen because you don't have good customer service, and because you have good customer service yourself. You got to have the training. You got to implement those things, and that's something that I will push for. And I think is very important.
All right, thank you. Number 2 is, how can you ensure that you never become one of those in the pocket of builders, businesses, or state offices, and remain aligned with the citizens of the Eagle Mountain? Oh, sorry. Yes, you have a 1-minute rebuttal. I apologize. Okay, so we will begin with Adam Bradley for the rebuttal. Thank you.
Rebuttal. No, that was a question that I don't think is going to get any differing of opinions. I don't think anyone's going to stand up here and say we don't really care about the residents, and we're going to be rude and mean, and we're not going to care. So I'm just going to tell you more about how I feel about it. They're giving me a minute, and I'm going to take the rest of my 45 seconds here. As an airline pilot, we're all about customer service.
Do you mind if I interject?
Oh, you can do whatever you want.
since I think we all agree
Okay.
that we all want good customer service, I'm going to read the question one more time, and that might affect how you answer. What do you plan to do to improve customer service between the city and the residents, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay,
So let's
thank
try
you.
that.
I appreciate that. So a little more about that. I talked about as your representative, I'm not going to be holding accountable those that don't have good customer service. That's not in my job title. But it is in my job title to nurture that culture, to really be a good customer service agent to you, to the residents. You come to the city council meetings and you have a gripe and you have a complaint. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna listen to you. That's my job, and I'm gonna not
30 seconds.
be offended by your complaints and not be upset that you're here yelling at me. I know it's easy to say because I haven't been in those shoes in this environment, but don't think I haven't yelled at before. So I think that we as city councilmen can really lead that culture because we are in the public eye more than anyone else in the city other than the mayor. And so I will be that smiling face that says, I hear you, I understand, let's
Time.
work on the problem. Thank you.
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind, and I didn't get to that because I ran out of time, because I started to go to the second thing, first, is to be an example. As I said, I'm a contractor. A large portion of my time during the day is spent with customers and with owners, with employees that have situations that I need to overcome, or that I need to help them overcome. And so I believe that what I will do is I will set the example by doing my mark best to always communicate openly and freely with those that approach me. I like to try and answer all emails that come. I do not always get them all, but I try really hard to be open and answer those and be customer friendly because the citizens are the customer. And if I can set the example, I hope that others will follow.
Okay, so a few things that I'm going to do right away. We'll just get to the list because you know I love customer service. I think it's a good idea. One, I'm going to make sure that the city has easy access to contact information for all your elected officials and for the city staff. That's pretty well available, but just making that even easier and making sure that we have yearly training for all of our city staff. I think that's important, and that's continue to go on. I know they have some things that they do already, but we need to improve that training and make sure we do it better, and that is continual.
30 seconds.
Make sure that if we have an issue that's going on in our city, that we're taking care of it and being proactive on those issues. For example, every year sometimes it gets too cold and our meters stop working and people get a high bill. Let's find a way to stop those meters from being too cold and stop working and see what other cities are doing, how they're having those same issues, so we can do it better and stop the problems from happening again in the future. Thanks.
I think there are two reasons why in the public sector it's real easy to lapse on our customer service. One is the public sector is a monopoly. There is no competition. And the other is oftentimes, I'm sure, city employees get overwhelmed. And sometimes, I'm sure customer service breaks down just because of time issues. But some things I'm willing to do. I'm willing to work with the city employees and share with them my beliefs about customer service, and that we really need to treat it just like any other business, and not just feel like they can't go anywhere else, so it doesn't matter. But it does matter because we're all temporary, and the city residents are paying clients.
Okay, I'm going to do better this time. Okay, question number 2 is where we're at. How can you ensure that you never become one of those in the pocket of builders, businesses, or state offices and remain aligned with the citizens of Eagle Mountain? We're going to start with Nate Oxen.
Well, this is ironically a very easy answer for me. It says that you're either an honorable and open and transparent person or you're not, okay? I have been fortunate enough to have great support from the building community, not only because I am a builder, a contractor, but because we've had a lot of favorable developments that have come to the city. We need to have more. We need to have some commercial and some other things come into the city, and I've never been asked yet to do anything that would go against my principles from anybody that's given me any money, and a lot of that goes to the character of the people that are working within the city also. But if I were ever approached in that way, it's a very easy answer for me. I have a straight moral compass that tells me what is right and what is wrong. Somebody wants to curry favor with me and be a friend with me, that's great. I love friends and I love to have support. I need to have the support to be able to be elected. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to pay back in some kind of a favor in any way, shape, or form that does not meet with any kind of guideline. If there's a favorable decision, it doesn't mean that any rules are bent. It means that for me, that all criteria has been met, that a development or whatever the circumstances brought before the city, it is not only favorable to the city in my opinion, or to the opinion that I've been able to gather from the citizens, but that it is also the right thing to do. My opinion is not for sale.
Here in Eagle Mountain, I actually have a working relationship with many of the developers here through my career as a commercial real estate appraiser, and have not taken any money from them, not because I wouldn't, but because they haven't offered. But I think they already know that we have that kind of relationship, and that if they want to get things done, they can come talk to me and they'll still get my ear, so they don't need to give me money to make that happen. But I think the important thing to understand is, as far as taking, say, becoming one of those in the pocket of developers or whatever, I believe in being honest in all of my dealings with everybody that I work with. It's a creed that I take as a real estate appraiser. I'm affiliated with the Appraisal Institute, and if I ever go against that, they'll remove me from that. So if you see me take that affiliation off of my credentials, then you know that I'm no longer being honest. And so in order for me to do that, I can't go out and approve something like in a development, let them slide on one of the city code laws or do different things that I would not normally allow just because they gave me $500 or whatever it was. That doesn't apply for me. I'm not here to be a lifelong politician. I'm not here to get recognition. I'm not here to make friends. I've already got friends, 238 or something on Facebook, I think. And I've only been there for a few months, so I'm doing okay. I got friends. But I'm here to do what's best for the residents of Eagle Mountain City and to listen to your voice. I've had people recently ask me my opinion on Evans Ranch, and I immediately told them what my opinion was and what I've heard from other residents. And I think that's important, to get out and talk to everyone. And that's what I'm going to represent. That's the only concern I have after working with residents for 5.5 years on the Parks and Rec Board. The only thing that I think is important is to truly represent you as citizens of Eagle Mountain and make sure your voice is heard, and to adequately relate that to those who are involved here, developing or building businesses here in our community.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's flashing.
Yes.
I don't like that microphone anyway. This is an issue that's concerned me for some time. I've had the opportunity over the past 20 years to work on quite a few campaigns, and I've helped people that I consider to be really good people get elected, only to see them go into office and change once they got in there. And that was greatly disappointing to me. So I gave that a lot of consideration and thought a lot about what can be done to prevent that. And so over that time, I've taken the time to develop deep conservative roots because I think it's dedication to those principles is the only is the only way to avoid being swayed. It's because in any public office, you're bombarded from a lot of different directions. And so the city council, to me, it's not about me. It's not an opportunity for me to advance my career. It's an opportunity for me to serve, and that's it. And I'm committed to that and to the principles that, you know, when we take an oath, that's a serious issue for me. And I have prepared and I plan to be fully dedicated to that oath and not to any self-interest or side interest. Thank you.
One of my main bullet points in most of my conversations with you is communication. I think it comes down to communication. It comes down to being on the same page as you, understanding where you're coming from and where we need to go as residents and the city. And so I don't think this scenario of this question happens in a dark, seedy alley with a large man and sweaty and says, "You got to do this or we're not coming to Eagle Mountain." I think this happens slowly. This happens over time in subtle ways. And as elected officials, we have to be cognizant of that. We have to be aware that that happens and not be subdued or influenced by those that... So the scenario is that I'm on city council, we're on the city council, and a developer is here asking that we vote his way or what he needs so that he can make millions of dollars. And I understand that pressure. It's Nate's been there. I mean, it's a lot of money for this developer, and it's challenging for those of us on the city council to say no to that person to making lots of money. But if it's not in the best interest of the city, it has to be no. And that's the beauty of representative government. You can look at my voting record. You can see how I will vote. I will tell you how I'm going to vote. Back to communication. You'll know how I vote. You'll know if I voted for this development or against that development. And if we can be on the same page prior to that vote, you can rest assured, I don't need to go to the city council meeting tonight. I've already talked to Adam. I know how he's going to vote on this development. I know how he feels about these roads and about this commercial development and why we're not going to give tax breaks and so on and so forth. So it starts with you and I in that communication so that you and I are on the same page. And you don't have to worry about me being influenced by those outside. Thanks.
All right, now it's time for rebuttal.
Same order?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll start with me.
Well, as I look at these three fine gentlemen, and I'd like to include myself in this group, is I think you have good representation in the choices that you have. It starts with honesty and integrity, and then it goes with the experience that you gain from the relationships that you build with the builders, and you understand and you recognize when those things are not right. You understand with the communication that you get from the city, from the residents, and sometimes you have to weigh that with the NIMBY. You get a lot of that not in my backyard mentality, and we don't want this, we don't want that, and then the others, they do, and so there's pressure from all sides. The big thing is you have to have a core belief in yourself, in your honor, and your integrity. And I do. I face those challenges repeatedly in my own career. And I understand what it takes to stand up to something that is wrong. And I also understand how hard it is to stand up for something that is right in the face of turmoil also. So I believe that true representation in honor and integrity starts with that core belief.
Time. I apologize, I missed your
Did I go over?
30 seconds. No, you're right on time. I apologize.
Great. Well, I'm going to rebut or add to some things that have been said, since that's what we're here to do. But I thought it was interesting what Adam Bradley said about being on the same page as a residents, and then as long as we're there, they'll know how we're going to vote and when we can show up. But sometimes the same page as the residents isn't the same page as the developer, and the developer's not happy with what's going on. So he's still going to show up because he's not going to want it. He just wants to have his development approved and get on as quick as he can. He doesn't want to keep coming back to city council meetings because that doesn't make him any money. And so for me, what's really important, and that is, developers want to make money. I understand what it takes to do that because I study it all the time. And so the best thing we can do is have a can-do attitude, work with them, talk to them, have meetings between the developers and the residents and encourage that. Many of these developers will come if they're invited, and then we can get on that same page and really do things well. Thanks.
This is a common issue that we see all the time, but all these fine gentlemen, we're all good people, and most, I'm sure most all people that we see get elected to office are basically good people. But what we see over and over again is even though they're good people, we certainly have differences, and sometimes opinions change and perspectives change. Especially in the heat of battle, as it were, when all the pressures are on. But yeah, it definitely takes more than just being a good person with good intentions. Definitely have to have deep roots into core principles that are proven principles that we've seen throughout the history of our country. When office holders are able to stick with the principle and when they drift from it. Thank you.
So this unfortunate scenario of elected officials being in the pockets, if you will, of developers is, I think, again, can be headed off with proper communication. But more importantly, or along the lines of that communication is perception. Perception trumps reality. What is being perceived by the residents and what it looks like and what it smells like might not always be what it is, but if that's what the resident perceives it to be like,
30 seconds.
then that's the problem you have to fix. And so, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's about having this dialogue prior to voting. You and I talking, you and I having conversations. You know where I am, I know where you need to be. I can inform you on what the developer needs and what he or she are looking for, what the business is looking for. And you and I, you can be part of it. It's the representative government. And it doesn't take a whole lot. I'm living testament. It just doesn't take a whole lot of effort for you to be involved, and we can do it together.
Okay, question number 3, and this one will begin with Brian. Number 3 is, we have heard a lot about transparency during this campaign season. Define transparency as it applies to city functions and politics. What would you do to help the city become more transparent?
I've mentioned this before, and this is something that I've been proactive about since I got on the Parks and Recreation Board. I think number one thing about transparency is making sure that the information the residents need is available to them where they can find it, and that it is in a form that they can understand. I'm really grateful, and I think it's important to understand what the city is doing for some of the efforts that are being made. Thank goodness it's an election year, because things are happening. It's really good. They're looking at creating a layman's form of the budget. Budgets are what they are. They're very complex and they're very difficult for most of us to understand. But they're working towards creating something that is kind of a budget for dummies, if you will, in the layman's terms, so we can understand what money's being spent where and what they're doing with it. I think that is great. I think it needs to go beyond that and making sure that we have direct access to our elected officials, whether it's through websites like iCount.com, where we can have forums and discussions going on, through our newsletters. There's some dialogue we can have there, making all the contact available to our elected officials more easy to find on our website and other places. I also think it's really important, as far as transparency is concerned, that we don't try and always have this attitude as an elected official of defending our position. When a resident comes up to a city council meeting and has an opinion on something, it's not our responsibility to defend, it's our responsibility to possibly educate, but for me, it's just to listen. Simply to listen and hear what they have to say and say, I hear you,
30
thank you
seconds.
for that. We will get you more information and do so. Thanks.
Generally, when we're
I can help you drive.
okay, appreciate it. Generally, when we're talking about transparency, most of the time we're talking about budgets. And I know this is a constant battle with the city because budgets are very complex, and I know that they're making attempts to have simplified versions. Ironically, sometimes the simplified versions kind of backfire on us because it's really easy then to think, well, are they hiding something? Which, you know, not saying that that's justified, not justified, but it's just a natural reaction. So certainly it's going to be important in that transparency. It's just to keep everything real and certainly not try to candy coat anything. Just the harsh realities I think are the best policy for transparency, and to have, you know, as Brian mentioned, just everything available. So when it comes to budgets, you have the simplified budget, but then for some people, I'm sure you're going to have to back it up with the thicker stack, the long budget, if you will. But this certainly is a tough issue. I mean, it's just not simply a matter of just being transparent, but it is one of communication and fielding the questions. So in some ways, it's almost a logistics problem as much as it is a true transparency one. So certainly questions will have to be fielded as much as possible, but I think part of it is just starts with just being as upfront as it can possibly be to head off any concerns, because once trust starts to break down, then you have a problem.
Transparency is not one of my favorite words because it's kind of a key word, kind of a catchphrase word that to me is a little empty. And so I'm going to hit it again. I apologize. It is about communication. You need to know what I know as a city councilman. And it'll be my job, and I take it upon myself to let you know what I know. And our job as city councilman is to vote on the budget. That's number one job. And so I'll take it upon myself to know that budget better than my job requires me to know it. And then I can tell you and I can talk about the budget, and I will know what I'm talking about, and you can rely on me as a resource, me, my website, and the digital means that I'm using to communicate with you. You can rely on me as a resource. And my wife says I talk too much, but it's because I care about you understanding what I understand. And I'm kind of a visual learner, and I teach that way as well. And so you might see a little more graphs and pictures and things like that when it comes to my website, because that's how I learn. But so sometimes transparency feels more like translucency, doesn't it? That it's there, the information's there, but it's hard to understand, it's hard to get to. And so it'll be a goal of mine to make that information that you want readily available. You're not going to have to dig and dig and dig. The city currently complies with all laws and exceeds the requirements on some cases. But as I'm doing research the last year or so for this job interview, that it's not easy to find. And so I'm going to make it easy for you to find so that we can be on the same page and we can talk about things and you're comfortable.
Well, the best and the worst thing about going last is that a lot of the good stuff's already been said. Because a lot of these opinions are very much the same. Transparency is, again, it's one of those catch-alls that, yeah, we're going to be transparent and we're going to communicate and we're going to be honorable and we're going to be all these different things. But when it comes right down to it is that there has to be a partnership between the community and the elected officials. There needs to be communication. I love the word. And that way that we can understand each other, because by and large, it's hard to disseminate all the information that comes to us unless you're there at the meeting, if you read all the minutes, even if you go to the website and dig through all these things, unless you're at every meeting, every time, and hear and participate in every conversation, something is lost. So transparency is one of those kind of catchphrases that kind of gets to me sometimes, because it makes it sound like you're trying to hide something if you're not being transparent enough, and I don't believe that that's the case. But the budget and the transparency in that, something that I've encouraged very much so in my time on the council, is making it more understandable, making it more available. We've got building a new website that should make that, part of that will be much more easy to navigate. But to be able to understand the X's and O's. What are you paying for? Why are you paying it? And what can we do constantly
30 seconds.
to improve on each of those circumstances? It's not always about money, dollars and cents. It's about regulations and stipulations that are put upon builders and residents and all the different things. As long as we have that partnership, you can explain your part to us and we can do our best to make it right the way you want it to be.
Okay, it's time for rebuttals, and we'll start with Westmoreland.
As has been touched on, transparency means different things to different people. It's all different levels. And not all of us want to know all of the details, but there are certain things we want to know. So certainly to be transparent, we need to match up with those concerns, those desires, those needs. So many of those questions are answered, I'm sure, fairly easily with simplified budget, with simplified explanations. But then there are others that will want more complex, more thorough answers. And certainly part of that
30 seconds.
is to just head that off and make sure that those people that want more information have that information. They're not having to dig for it, search it, track it down, and just deal with it head on. Thank you.
So I just want to make it clear that I will be an active participant in disseminating information. I'm not gonna sit on the city council and just rely on the city recorder and the city to put things on their website. I have my own website. I've said it before. I'm not gonna bore you, but it's there so that I can talk to you. I can talk to the masses. My phone number's available. We can talk about these things. And so I want to make it so that you want to come to city council meetings because you're going to learn what's going on in your city. But if you can't,
30 seconds.
you have another resource to go to, and that's my website, where you can go to learn about, well, what happened tonight, last night at city council. How did Councilman Adam Bradley vote? What were some of his thoughts on some of those who showed up? And so I just want to take this thought of transparency and really make it shine, so that you have no question as to how I'm voting and the thoughts that I'm having, and then we can have conversations about that.
Time.
Well, I'll go back to the partnership again, because we need to have that communication with you. We need to understand what you do and do not understand, so that we can get in front of the story and make sure that we can educate you on the things that you are not understanding. And if there's something that is lacking, that we may take action and make it happen. I believe that is the key to all transparency, is that partnership. Is if you have an expectation, communicate it to me as your council member, then I can represent you fully.
30 seconds.
I feel like I've been able to do that very well over the time that I've been in the council. We've got many ways to communicate. We've got cell phones, we've got emails, there's the city website, there's all these different things. And by the way, there's a city council meeting on 2 times a month most generally. You can come and join us. We'd love to see you there.
Good, better, best. Good thing to do is to have the information available on the city's website. Better idea is to have it in a form that people can understand. And the best idea is to be continually, as an elected official, sharing that information with you. We've had a previous elected official who had a website, posted stuff every single day, and I loved it. Then he left office, and it was gone. And we don't have that anymore. It was better than KSL.com. It was awesome. And it's gone. And so we have the proposal to do that again.
30
It's going to be
seconds.
awesome, but then it's going to be gone. So I don't know, doing things like iCount.com, you may not know if they've tried to use that before, something like that, maybe not that exactly, to promote. So we can talk about this all the time, and then when I leave office, the same people are on that same place, you don't have to go anywhere else, and the next elected official is there talking to you about the same issues, so you can stay informed, not just today, but forever.
Our last question, number 4, and this time we'll begin with Bradley. What do you like least about living in Eagle Mountain? And how can you change or improve that as an elected official?
All negative, huh? You're not going to ask what do I like the most? Okay, all right. Well, I think it's a difficult question because there's not a lot that I can list out. This room is pretty full, but I think there could be more of us here. I think we could have all called a few neighbors tonight, a few more neighbors, and we could have had standing room only tonight. So we have a very, I think we have a very active group in the city, and we have a very inactive group in the city that just don't bother, don't care. It's not for them, and they just go about their day, and that's okay. But I think we can bridge that gap a little bit. We can bring our friends, and I've seen this in my experience lately that I can influence my friends and neighbors to perk up a little bit, to care a little bit more, and so. But more or less than that, or more than that I don't like, is I don't like giving my money to other cities. I don't like spending my money and spending my tax dollars in other cities. I don't like shopping at Walmart in Saratoga Springs. I want those tax dollars to come to us. I want to have economic development here that preserves our small town feel, and yet we can generate our own revenue. And then our taxes can go down. We can rely on more sales tax to generate that revenue. And so that's done, that economic development is done by, I like to say, rooftops and roads. I stole that from a friend of mine. Rooftops and roads brings economic development. If we can build homes that are desirable, homes that people want to live in and move to, and keep our neighborhoods desirable, then more folks will live and move to Eagle Mountain. And then we have to continue to improve our roads, widening roads, and keeping our roads nice so they're drivable through the winter. And so rooftops and roads brings that economic development, and then I can keep more money here in Eagle Mountain, and I don't have to spend my tax dollars somewhere else.
I would say for me is the lack of services for the community. You know, we don't have a movie theater, we don't have a bowling alley, we don't have the things that we want to do. We want to, the old catchphrase, we want to live here and work here and play here. We want to. I don't want to drive up to American Fork every time I want to go have a steak dinner. You know, I'd like to be able to maybe walk. You know, that's kind of crazy talk, walk, but. There's a sound development principle is that you've got to, if you build it, they will come. You've got to have the houses. If you don't have people, then you don't have services. If you don't have roads to get the people to the houses, then you don't have services. If you don't have the roads, you don't have the houses, you don't have the people, you don't have the services. Bottom line, we want to have the services, but we have to be able to implement our roads in our development in a responsible way. We don't want to just plunk down, you know, 1 million houses and say, hey, come live out here. It's the cheapest place in the state. Come buy a house, and eventually we'll have another supermarket. That's not what we want. We want to have wide, beautiful streets with trees and with improvements. We want to hold the developers responsible for what they promise to bring to our city. We want to have parks. We want to have beautiful homes, and we want to have a variation. We can't just have starter homes and condos. We need to have
30 seconds.
Mid-level homes and then even bigger homes. Maybe we'll have some doctors and lawyers out here and bring some more money and bring some more development. Responsible, appropriate, planned development so that we can have the roads and transportation, electric, water, sewer, everything that we need for those services and for the people that come along.
First off, I'd like to say I love living in Eagle Mountain, and it's hard to say what I don't like about living here. But the number one thing for me is seeing people come, move to Eagle Mountain, and then move away. That bugs me more than anything. I'm a pioneer of sorts. I love to be a pioneer. I'm very visionary, so I can see exactly where the city's potential is and where we can go moving forward, and it's exciting. But so many people aren't like that. They're not visionary. They're not visual people. That's not anybody's fault. It's just the way their personalities. And because of my job as an elected official is to help them see what a great place this is and why it's such a great place, and encourage them to more people to come. I mean, I'm going, why is my brother not living out here, you know? Or why is my, you know, maybe it's because they have more money, they don't come out here for the reasons a lot of us do, to get a home for more, for less money, I don't know. But the point is that we need to encourage people to stay here, and the number one concern I get from residents is this. You know, there's no grocery store or a gas station or nothing in the city center. Or, you know, I gotta go all the way over here for this or that, which has been mentioned before, and those kind of things. The services aren't there. It's coming, and it will come, and we're the pioneers right here in this room, the ones who are helping to grow this community. But I think some specific things that we can do right away is, we've got hundreds and hundreds of home-based businesses right here in Mountain. I don't know if you guys all know them, or if you know what any of them are, but I'm sure in a lot of cases you're using the same services and pulling somebody out of somewhere else in Utah or Salt Lake County. So we need to really promote those businesses, get them in a place where people can easily find them, see them, and use the resources that are already here and see how great this community is, and then really build the vision for the future of Eagle Mountain, so they know where we're going, and really communicate that so they can see what's being done and that this city is growing and will be viable for a very long time, and frankly the best place to live anywhere.
These are all really great ideas. In fact, I was going to say my biggest complaint was there isn't enough chocolate here, but now Charlotte's taking care of that. So, we all love living in Eagle Mountain. I mean, that's why we moved here. I mean, it's just a nice, affordable place to live, great place to raise kids, and the fact that it's a little bit out of the way, that's we're okay with that. But yeah, certainly. Having a few more conveniences out here. Now what am I doing? Is that me? Is it Bradley? Is it you? Okay, all right. Lose my whole train of thought. Actually, one of the things that I really would like to see is, and I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but definitely like more citizen involvement, more citizen answers. It's really easy to get in the habit of looking to our city government for all the solutions and have them write a check to solve all of our problems. But excuse me, many things can be dealt with and can be solved on our own without writing a big paycheck. If we just pitch in together and do them. Like one of the things that I frequently hear, and granted mostly from people in the city center area, is the lack of trees, and certainly that's something that we can pitch in together and start growing those trees without a huge investment. So certainly, I'd like to see us just all work together to make it a better city and get our children involved. And thank you all in there.
So this is rebuttal time, right? Okay, got my time right. There are a lot of things that we can do to improve Eagle Mountain, and as my campaign slogan says, a fresh start. And we've got a lot of active residents that we need to regain their trust. We need to get them to realize that we're listening and that we care what they say and what they say matters. And that's my goal. I've talked about communication a lot tonight.
30 seconds.
And I want you to know, I want to listen to you, I want to talk to you, and I want to be part of the conversation so that when I go vote, I'm voting how you want me to vote. And I don't necessarily agree that if you build it, they will come always works. There are probably times and places it works, and I want to see Eagle Mountain being a place that businesses want to come to without us giving away the farm, so to say. And this, we can get away from that.
Well, having been on the council, you see how the developments kind of come in. How businesses deal with the city, and I can tell you right now that the only thing that they look for in the initial conversation is numbers, period. End of the discussion. You've got X number of residents, see ya. There's no more conversation. And we've been through this over and over again with developers, but we have all the people out in the city center,
30 seconds.
these other areas. The bottom line is if you build it, they do come. The houses, even though we had the crisis, they've all been sold out. They're building like crazy again. If we have that responsible development, we will have the things that we want to have. We will have the businesses that want to come out here. They want to be here. They just need more of us.
I think another reason why residents come to Eagle Mountain and move from Eagle Mountain, for those of you who've lived here a long time, you know what I'm saying when I hit the back roads to work, because it's quicker. And thankfully, we don't have to do that anymore. But keeping up with the infrastructure of a growing city is a big deterrent to having people move out here and wanting to stay and live in our community and be a part of what we know is great. And I'm already starting to see it with Pony Express Parkway. Now we have, future developments coming in, and they're going to add to that traffic. And it just continues to grow and grow. And so it's really important
30 seconds.
that we take the initiative to really make sure all the infrastructure we need is in place and that we're regulating these things. These things take years to do, so we need to, start yesterday kind of a thing and work on those and let residents know what we're doing so that as we grow, we can handle that growth, because that is a big concern from current residents, and I don't want to see them move because of those concerns.
Now, are we having closing statements after this? Okay. Well, I think this question has been covered really well. There's not a whole lot to complain about in Eagle Mountain. Just we can just always do better, and we can do better by joining together and getting things done. And I will just, since I think we're running long anyway, I'll keep it short. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go ahead and do our closing statements.
Got 2 minutes? All right, again, my name is Nathan Oxenhurt. I've been on the city council for 6 years and love living in Eagle Mountain City. It has been very good to my children and to our family as a whole. We have so many friends and so many people have been very good to us, and that is why I love serving on the city council, because I want to see the very best that we can have as a city for all of my family, my friends, and you that I count as my friends also. I believe that if we have a partnership between
30 seconds.
the citizens and...
Sorry, just...
You threw me off my game. I want another minute. I'm just kidding. If we have that partnership, then we can move forward together. We look so many times, we have city council meetings where we have 3, 4, 5 people other than those that are presenting. Please come and get involved. Please email us. Please ask us the questions. Please give us the information so that we may be able to represent your wishes. We're not scary. Oh, I don't think I am anyway. I love getting information from people, that new ideas and new thoughts, and being able to push forward on those and being able to help neighborhoods individually has been a great pleasure of mine while serving on the council, seeing many little parks and trees and utilities and the different things, different improvements that have been able to be made as a direct representative of the people. And
Really is 30 seconds this time.
it is really 30 seconds. Thank you so much for coming out and listening to us. I know this is really super exciting. I hope that you will continually engage all of us and that you'll come out and vote in November. Thank you so much.
It's time for you guys to make a decision, decide who you're going to vote for, and help shape the future of our city through your vote. It's quite a powerful thing that we all have the ability to do as residents, and you can have more influence on the city level than on any level of government whatsoever. And so I think that is a great opportunity, and I hope you encourage everybody you know that lives here to get out and to vote. That is really important. It's been said that we can always do things better, and we should, but I believe that if you elect the same people, expecting them to do things differently, and they're just going to do things the same way, but you're not. Let me say that again. You can't expect some people to do things, you can't elect somebody who's already been in office, expecting them to do things differently, because they're just going to get the same results. Okay, let me get that out. That's really important. I want you to understand that because, it's time for new leadership. If we want things to improve, if we want to do things better, continue the good things that we've done, but improve communication with residents, improve the way things will be done, we need to elect new leadership here in Eagle Mountain City. And it's important that we have people who are really passionate about our city, who are really involved and are already working hard to make a difference, so you know what kind of passion, what kind of dedication you're going to get. If you like Brian Free, I've been serving Eagle Mountain since I lived here 5.5 years. I don't think anybody else who's running against the current council has that same track record. And I am proactive about listening to your voice. I will work hard to have town hall meetings.
30 seconds.
Go come knock your door. Do whatever it takes to make sure your voice is listened to and that you are heard. Because the biggest complaint I hear is that your voice is not heard, and that will be heard. And I have a proven track record of doing that. And I hope that you will get out and vote for Brian Free. Thanks.
Thank you everyone for coming and for listening to us go on. I really am tempted to change my campaign slogan to more chocolate, but I haven't quite figured out how to work that in. But definitely, I'm committed to conservative principles, committed to serving this city and making it better. I really believe that the answer to that is not just a city council, but working together to find solutions, not necessarily struggle about things that we can't do, but find the things we can do together and overcome our differences there. Again, I appreciate everyone putting in the time to put this on, and for all of you for being here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks, Danielle. And thanks to the audio girls for making this happen so that everyone can hear us. It's an easy task. I've been there. Again, Adam Bradley. My website is adambradleyemcity.org. Hopefully the goal of that website is to be the hub of our communication, of you and I's communication. And I'm sorry if you're not a website person. My phone number's on there. Call me. We can use my phone as my hub for you, and that's fine. And so I just want to reiterate a few things. My goal as your elected representative is for what I like to call fiscal clarity. I'm going to understand the budget that I'm going to vote on, and I'm going to communicate that understanding to you so that you and I are on the same page about where our money is being spent. And I really believe that we can spend less money than we're spending currently. Just because we spent $1 million on something last year doesn't mean we need to spend $1 million on it next year. We can spend less money. And I talked about communication a lot tonight. That sort of permeates all of my thoughts, is that if you and I can talk, if we can have a conversation about it, something small. I have a Twitter account. Follow my Twitter feed. You can hear some things that I'm talking about. And most importantly, that you feel represented. You feel like Adam Bradley represents me well. And if you feel that way, please vote for me. I'm honored to come here tonight and humbled that to win the primary election, to be the top vote getter,
30 seconds.
Says a lot about you and I, and we can do this together. I like Nate's term of partnership. It's good. It's a good term. And, so, small government, less spending, communication. We can make Eagle Mountain even better than it is today. Thanks. See you November 5th.
All right, everybody got a turn, right? We want to end it before we're done. All right, let's give them a round of applause.